to be right here in AEW.
And as you can imagine, it was a lot of discourse online about the match with Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné at All In. It was some positive, some negative, but mostly negative. It's just very unfortunate because on paper that was one of the matches of should have been one of the matches of the year. You know, you got an AEW stalwart original, and then you got the newcomer, the superstar coming in taking over. That build and that match should have been so much better. You can't deny that. Look, you can attack me. I'm a Mercedes fan. I'm being objective. It just did not live up to the billing. So Mercedes' next match afterwards, she went to defend her New Japan Strong Women's Championship against Momo Watanabe. And that was a 20-minute match that took place at Capitol Collision in Washington, D.C. 20-minute match, man. Hard-hitting counter strikes. You could tell Mercedes Moné was in her element, man. She loves wrestling in Japan. She loves wrestling in Japan, or Japanese wrestlers. So it was a bit of a bounce back match, right? But the thing that sucks about it, it was on New Japan Pro Wrestling, not AEW. So, you know, you're not going to get all of the AEW fans watching that match. It's going to be mainly your New Japan and then just your hardcore Mercedes fans are going to watch it. So even though it was a great match, even without the build, it just nobody really. You had to be a diehard Mercedes fan. It didn't catch the. What I'm trying to say is it didn't catch the casual audience that's following Mercedes because they're not going to pay, even though it wasn't that much, it was only like $20, not going to pay for a New Japan pay per view. Even though I like New Japan, it's not as hot right now as what it used to be. But overall, I mean, it was a great match. But how many people saw it, right? So the next match Mercedes had was against Hikaru Shida at AEW All Out in Chicago, which was resulted in a 16-minute, almost a 17-minute match with Shida. Many said Shida should have wrestled her at All In, but you know, I mean, the only thing you really could have did there was maybe have a triple threat. But how can Shida say that when she lost to both of them, Mercedes and Britt Baker, right? So this is another match that was a dream match. This is another AEW original challenging the newcoming superstar that's a double champion in a short amount of time, right? So Tony Khan should consider giving a little bit of space between All In and All Out. I mean, only 2 weeks between the two. Maybe like at least give us a month for stories, right? So again, Mercedes Moné and Shida, they only had the interaction with the one or two promos and the title match, and then they had a couple more promos where Sheeta had a great promo and got Camille banned from ringside. It says "Sayonara, bitch." I thought that was really cool, but not a lot of build. So you got 2 weeks and you got a match, right? I've got a video out on YouTube. If you guys want to check it out, in my you can just go to my channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you like the content, obviously. But I kind of went into detail about that match, so I don't want to rehash it here again. But overall, the match was 3/4 of the way really good. And then the weird thing with Sheeta doing the three katana finishers, Mercedes got hit pretty hard by one. She kicked out at one after three finishers. Then the whole weird ending. So 3/4 of the match was very good, and then it got wonky at the end, which put a damper on the entire match because it was a really good match 3/4 of the way through. But this is yet another moment where the match was outshined by another women's match on the card, which was the street fight between Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. So what's the common denominator out of those last two pay-per-views is Chris and Willow Tony and Mariah had longer and stronger stories compared to Mercedes and Britt and Mercedes and Sheeta. So, Mercedes' next match. So, Mercedes has been gone. She hasn't made any kind of TV appearances on AEW since All Out against Sheeta. And like the Britt Baker match, it was a lot of fallout about the ending of the match. Nobody's complaining about the overall match like Britt Baker. People are complaining about the ending of the match. And the cool thing about it, Excalibur, when Sheeta was wrestling Harley Cameron on Rampage last Friday, he brought up Sheeta doing the three finishes and Mercedes kicking out at one. So they're creating a storyline saying, because Sheeta didn't go for the katana, she went for the Falcon Arrow to win. And so Sheeta and Excalibur are playing out the fact that, oh, is Sheeta not confident in their katana? So they're kind of spinning the debacle of the Mercedes match at All Out, and they're going to spin it into a very, very, very good storyline. And what I noticed that Tony Khan hasn't really commented on a lot on Mercedes' last two pay-per-views with Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida at All In and All Out. So Mercedes was going into both of these big pay-per-views with a lot of momentum. I mean, the Stephanie Varcourt match was sensational, and it's just been kind of spiraling out of control since the Britt Baker situation. And Mercedes' stock is dropping a little bit. So since the fallout with at the end of the match with Sheeta at All Out, Mercedes hasn't been. Now maybe she has other engagements. Maybe she was a little injured. I don't know the full story, but Mercedes hasn't been on. And she defended her belt a lot in a span of a couple of weeks. So maybe Tony Khan's giving her some time off as well. But she has not been on TV, AEW TV, in 2 weeks since All Out. Kamille wrestled a couple of weeks ago on Rampage against Robin Renegade, but we have not seen Mercedes Moné in 2 weeks, and she has not been advertised or booked for Grand Slam. Or maybe she'll make a return at the 5th anniversary of Dynamite, but we haven't seen Mercedes Moné in a span of 2 weeks. So Mercedes Moné is holding the TBS Championship now for over 120 days, and she is approaching 100 days on her New Japan Strong Women's Championship. Double champ Mercedes Moné. I'm not saying Mercedes Moné does not deserve to be a double champion. She deserves a title reign like she has for the TBS Championship. It was a crime how they were booking her at WWE when it comes to title reigns and defenses. She's finally getting what she deserves. She's in pay-per-views defending her championship against high-quality opponents. So she's definitely deserving of that. It makes no sense that she's been a champion longer in AEW as a TBS champion, longer than her 5 or 6 reigns as Raw Women's Championship at WWE. That's just crazy stat when you think about it. But overall, with these 2 weeks that Mercedes has had off, and I don't know how long, maybe she's going to make a return at Grand Slam, like I mentioned, or the 5th anniversary of Dynamite. I hope Mercedes Moné and her creative writing team and AEW's writing team and Tony Khan and Kamille and whoever is going to join Mercedes Moné's Money Corporation. Mercedes Moné, now I think is smart. She's been aligned with the Elite a little over a month now with Okada and the Young Bucks. Now that she's a full-fledged, arrogant heel, you can lean into that even more. She needs to be more sinister with this, right? They got to solidify her character. Mercedes Moné needs to come back refreshed with a tweaking of her character. Mercedes Moné, despite what she did at WWE, despite what she did in Japan, she's in AEW right now. She's in AEW. Mercedes Moné, for her to get fully ingratiated with the crowd and the fan base and to be over, whether it's a heel or whether it's a babyface, she needs a signature moment. She needs a signature storyline. She needs a signature rivalry that will get her footing firm in AEW. And until then, it's going to be this weirdness of people not knowing how to cheer for her or when to cheer. You can just tell, man. Mercedes fans, you can beat me up in the comments, whatever you want to do. I do want to hear your opinion, but there's something missing with her current character, guys. That is something missing there. And I think the inconsistency of her character at the beginning of the year has plagued her right now. Now she does have a firm, more consistent character because it was inconsistent early on. It can definitely be better now, but they got to tweak her character. And what I would like to see is at some point, I would like for Mercedes and Camille to turn into like another Mariah May, Tony Storms type storyline where they eventually split, they loyalties are broken and they split towards maybe like the end of the year. But I would like to see Mercedes at some point, whether she drops it to Sheeta or maybe drop it to Camille. I would like to see her drop the TBS championship, okay? And allow her time to go to Japan or wherever she needs to go to defend her New Japan Strong Women's Championship around the world. And then when she comes back, whether she's a New Japan Strong Women's Champion or not, maybe she drops the belt out there for after she's held it for around 150 days or so or whatever. She comes back. Mercedes Moné needs to be challenging as maybe a babyface for the AEW Women's Championship. No matter who that champion is, Mercedes needs to be in the title picture. Now, what I like about Mercedes, she didn't come in and just challenge Tony Storm and took the belt. She came in, she took a prestigious mid-card championship, and she took a belt in New Japan Strong Women's Championship that was designed for her. And the reason why she didn't win it the first go around is because she injured her heel. But I would like to see Mercedes drop that belt. Maybe she drops the TBS Championship towards the end of the year at one of the PLEs, whether it's Full Gear or World's End. And I want to see her defend the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. I want her to get back in her real element where she loves wrestling, the Joshi wrestlers of Japanese wrestling, and then come back and start competing for the AEW Women's Championship. Mercedes is a 15-time world champion, is the best wrestler in the world, one of the greatest of all time. She needs to have that black and gold big belt around her waist sometime next year. That's what I like to see moving forward from her. I would like to see a tweaking of the character because the character needs to be tweaked a little. Mercedes never been super strong on the mic, so I'm not looking for these Tony Storm or The Rock type promos. I mean, just play to her strengths, cut decent promos and just continue to have great matches. But what I would like to see from the creative is Mercedes Moné needs storylines, stronger ones going into these matches. Mercedes Moné needs memorable AEW moments. She needs a person, a rival, like she had with Bayley, like she had with Sasha, like she had with Charlotte. She needs rivals that have great chemistry with her so she can have these memorable rivalries to get her over in AEW. When those three things happen, Mercedes is going to be fine. Her stock's going to be back up there. It's not like her stock just dropped all the way to the bottom, but it dropped some, okay? Because the Sheeta match and the Britt Baker match left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. And I got to feel like Tony Khan of a Warner Mercedes caliber should have been continuing to kill it at the pay-per-views, which she's doing well, but the other two women's matches at All In outshined her matches for reasons we already documented. We just need Mercedes' character worked on. They need to create stories to where she has memorable moments and memorable rivalries and special chemistry with certain wrestlers, and I think she'll be fine. But by next year, Mercedes Moné needs to be competing for a world championship. And moving forward, again, Mercedes is the best women's wrestler in the world. Okay? And even with that said, you can't just trot her out there without stories. You got to create moments for this woman. Bryan Danielson, when he came in, he had big moments. Will Ospreay, big moments. Christian, big moments. Edge, big moments. You got to do that for Mercedes as well. As great as she does need creative support. She does need storylines. And she'll be just fine. But overall, I just wanted to give a video out on some content out on Mercedes Moné, my take, my review on her current run. Now that we're about 6 months in, all is not lost. She can recover from this quickly. It's not a bad thing. She just has to get recalibrated. And like I said, get the storyline strong, get the memorable moments created, and she'll be just fine. Hey, this is Mercedes Moné, the Money Corporation. She's aligned with Kamille. She should probably grow the faction a little bit more. And we're on and popping. Again, this is your boy JB talking about Mercedes Moné, AEW Run, signing off.